Hi, I'm Lazze and I'm teaching people in metal shaping, and you might probably have seen many of my videos before. So I'm going to show you a little trick here in the bead roller and a little about the English wheel as well. But I have question for a long time asked myself, what is it that people would like to see me doing in the equipment? Because I can actually do anything, but I need to have some samples or know what to do, and what is it that you out there would be interested to see. And I asked people and they said, it doesn't matter so much what it is as long as I'm learning, because they can use that tips and tricks or whatever later on, but it helps them to, as long as they learn something new about this technique in metal shaping, they are okay, they like it. But I would like to reach out to you out there, so if you know something that you would like me to show you, and it's something that can be done in a shorter video for YouTube, not a 3 hours video on YouTube, go to my website and send me an email with what you like me to do. So, and then I can make a list of stuff, and then I can see from there, I can see what I can do and what I can get templates for. But one thing that I really think people would like to know is, when people buy a project, they start restoring the car. And I live in California, so we don't have much rust here. So, but for many people, especially Sweden and Europe, the cars are rusty, and other states in the United States, especially on the East Coast, they can be very rusty. So the first thing that goes away is the floor and things on the bottom of the car, rocker panels and all kinds of stuff there. So, and I know that it is a problem when I make a floor panel. I can get this oil can effect on the panel if I put beads on it, and that can be even if you do it in a Pullmax. The Pullmax may be stretching the metal a little bit more, but it's still going to be little plum, plum, plum on the panel. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to make a rectangular box, reset down, and I'm going to do that in the bead roller, and then we can see what it feels like after I have done that. And then I marked the other one out as well, and before I do the second one, I'm going to pre-stretch that in English wheel on the surface that's going to be reset. Then we can run the bead on that one, and we can see the difference in oil can. And if I do the pre-stretching correct, then we will have it flat and no oil can. So that's what I'm going to start with. So let's, if you can see it here now, I put a scribe and made a box. I used the scribe here, and I scribe it there, and all 4 edges, and then I took a tape and I had the radius there, so I could make the radius so I can follow that in the bead roller. But that could be other shapes too on the floor panel, depends on what you have. This is just a sample so you can figure out how to do it without having the oil can. So let me drop this one off, and then I go back to the bead roller. So the dies that I'm using here in the bead roller are already set up. We're going to show you with a close-up so you can exactly see what dies I'm using. But the top die is the flame dies, and I'm using those a lot. So I set the dies on the scribe there so I can see the scribe on the outside here, and then I can lock the sheet there, and then I can move the guide out to that, so it lined up there. So that will be my starting point there. And I know that this was 3 turns, so I would like to go 1 time. So that is 1 turn, 2 turns, 3 turns. So I keep it in level. I need to slow down the speed a little bit. So I need to stop exactly on the black spot there. And then I remove the guide. And then I go in the radius here. And I can do a small step with my bead roller, because I already set the speed on the controller. So now I'm on a straight spot again. Then I'm moving out the guide. Okay? And then I can go straight and use my guide until I get there again. Then I remove the guide. And then I'm going to go small steps. And I lock the guide there, and then I can go straight. It really helps if you can do that instead of you doing it by freehand. Even if it's a floor panel and nobody ever going to see if you did a little mistake. But use the guide as much as you can if it's possible. So now it's the critical part here to line those two up. So see how good I am to make this happen. So I think I made it. So there you can see that it's lined up. So here you can see the bead, what it looks like. The dies that I used, you saw that I actually run this upside down. And it is better to do that because the flame dies is sharp. So I can follow the scribe much better. If I have run it with this round die on the top, I wouldn't see that scribe so good. So it helps to have the sharp one on the top and run it upside down. But here is the thing now, and this you probably, if you have built cars or restoring cars, you probably have end up with this. And this is not fun. This is not fun when this happens. And my suggestion, never weld a panel in like this on a car because you can't figure out how to fix it. Don't weld it into a car because you're going to have even worse things going on when you weld it around, and you will not be happy with it. But I'm going to show you how to take care of this so you know what's going on. So what happened here on this panel here is that when we do this bead like this, the bead roller dies try to do this to create the bead. And when you're pulling material this way, you're taking material from here and pulling it this way. So this whole surface here needs to be bigger, larger. So it's actually too short now, and it's too much material around. That causes this oil can. So I have tried different things to do this, and I have tried to go to the English wheel and roll this after, and I could do it to a certain point, but the result wasn't that good as I want. So what I have figured out, some people, and I have done it too, I have been in here with a deep shrinker and tried to shrink that extra material that I have there and make it shorter. Yeah, you can do that to a certain point, but then this is not going to be nice looking because you're going to see the marks from the shrinker. So it's kind of, yeah, you can go around it a little bit and you can get it to work, but it's not the right solution. So I'm going to show you a solution that works for me. You maybe find out a better solution, but this is what works for me. So let me go over to the English wheel, and I'm going to pre-stretch this box in the English wheel. So I'm making it a little bigger before we put the bead on. So I'm over here to the English wheel, and one of my best friends. I told you that before. So when I'm going to pre-stretch that, I'm using the flattest wheel in English wheel. I don't want a wheel like this. It's just going to do damage. I want this to be stretched, this surface, but I want it to still be flat. So I don't want to build up too much convex shape here. It's going to be a little bit, but it's going to come back when I do the bead in the bead roller. So now I need to pay a little attention here so I don't stretching outside that box, because then I can have problem too. So I think I'm going to use, let me do this really quick. If I draw a line with a Sharpie out here, then I know where the laser point, where I stop with that, and I can see that from the side, from behind the wheel there. So you see now I have the laser line, and I can see that I'm stopping exactly on that line. If I don't have that line, I'm guessing where I'm stopping. So I'm going to set this pressure there, and then I'm going to roll it, and I can see the line here as well. I'm guessing a little here now how much I need to pre-stretch. So if I'm lucky, then it's going to be exactly without any oil can or too long, so it's a convex shape after I put the bead on. If I still have a little oil can, that means that I should have pre-stretched a little more. But that's okay if I do a test piece. It's always better to do a test piece, and then you know how much you need. Okay, you can already see now that we have a little convex shape on this piece, because I'm making that box longer and wider. So I think the bottom of many cars, that's what people start repairing and restore when they're restoring a car. So I think this could be a useful trick for you to get a better floor panels. I think I'm going to do a little bit more like this. So I go back, and then I go forth, and then I'm going to take a look at it and see where we are. So if you can see now that we have a little convex shape there, I'm almost thinking that this is enough. If I do more, I'm afraid that it's going to be too much. So I think I should go over to the bead roller now and put the bead on, and then we will see if we still have an oil can, or if we are not having an oil can, or if it's straight. So we will see, but my guess is we give it a shot now and see what it is. So I'm back where in the bead roller again, same setup and everything, and I set the dies on the scribe there. So I'm going to turn this down 2 turns, and then I'm going to do exactly the same thing, and then we can compare this one that is pre-stretched, and then we can compare that to the other one that is not pre-stretched with the oil can, and see where we are. I like to have lots of power on the electrical motor. It's a 1/2 horsepower motor, so I can go full depth in the bead roller, and the motor works. It can handle that. think we're going to get pretty close with the oil can or flat piece coming out. So now I need to line those two up the best I can. Okay, so what do you think? Do you think we have any oil can, or do you think it's good? I don't have any oil can. It's little wavy on the sides here, but I think that's came from that I had so much pressure and I run it one time, and I prefer to do that instead of running it several times in the same track. So now we can go to the table and see and compare those two and see where we are. But little work with your hair, with your thumbs, and you know, do some small adjustments, and I can feel just a little tiny little oil can, but I don't think that will bother me at all to weld this panel in. So here I have this piece that was not pre-stretched, and here you can see the oil can. Okay. And if I lay that flat on the table, you see that it's not flat. So that is the piece that is no pre-stretching. This is the piece that I pre-stretched in English wheel. And no hammer and dolly on this one so far. And you see this is flat. So you can compare those two here now, and you can see the difference. So here you can see the difference with this one, and this is not the thing to, when it looks like this, never weld it to the car because you're going to cause more problem. So this one is a no. This one, you can see the bottom with the reset here is flat. So this one is good to weld on the car. But depends on the shape of this reset. It depends on in that area that you need to pre-stretch that area. So that can be a box, rectangular, square, round one, whatever it is, but you need to pre-stretch that area. On this specific panel, I wheel this one time and one time back. But it depends on the pressure, it depends on what kind of English wheel you have. So you need to do a test piece and see where you are. If you do a test piece and then you see that oh shit, I still have little oil can, you maybe it might be possible to go to the English wheel and roll that up a little bit with a low pressure inside here, not so you get a bubble, but you can stretch it a little bit, and maybe using the shim in the English wheel so you have the touching point on the wheels all the way out to the edge of the wheel, so you can go closer to the bead. So there you can see the difference. I can see now, because I turn it, I can see a little high spot there and a little high spot in each corner. But I can take that to my anvil, and then I can hold that, this could be the anvil, and then I take this one there, and then I hammer that down just a little bit there, and it will be even more flat. So that was the tips and tricks for this specific piece. I have one more thing to show you. And you might wonder, so this is kind of a little bonus. I'm not going to make it now, but I'm going to talk about it. This is a door jamb for a 33-34 Roadster. And I'm going to make one from scratch for myself, just for fun, because when I'm teaching the classes, I'm teaching my student to do all this stuff, but I would like to do more metal shaping and more art stuff just because it's so fun. So this one here, you can see that it's a weld, I tack welded together here. So this part here was made in a 90 degrees angle, and this part here I bent at different steps in the bead roller. But you can see what kind of it looks like. It's a complicated door jamb, but you see how you can do it in separate pieces. You need to be a little careful when you weld this together, because if it's lots of heat, it can shrink and it can change the shape. So you need to keep little track on that, so all those templates stay the same before you weld it and after you weld it together. So that was the tips and tricks for today about a floor panel. So I hope that you enjoy that, and I hope that can help you out there when you're restoring or building cars or other pieces. The pre-stretching thing is a good thing to do. If you want more information about my equipment, DVDs, books, you can go to www.lazzemetalshaping.com. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.